So we're going to be talking about a really kind of commonly spoken about topic in the spiritual community in general. But I do feel that we will be bringing a different take on it from our guests today. So we're going to be talking about manifestation and manifestation methods and why sometimes those work and why sometimes people, they really want really badly to create something in their life, and yet it does not happen. So that is what we will be talking about today. Before we start, I want to introduce myself. My name is Yumi. I'm a Thrive Guide and practitioner at SoulConX. And I am really glad to be with each of you today. And we'll give a moment for our practitioners to introduce themselves as well. We have Roger Burnley and Amy Cunningham with us today. So feel free to unmute yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and yeah.
Thank you so much. This is going to be so great, Yumi. And this was not planned. Okay, this is we're talking about manifestation today, and you guys are going to get more than what you bargained for, which is going to be good. I'm an intuitive empowerment life purpose coach. I receive information and I help guide people to where they're meant to go. And so what's going to come up is I'm going to reveal a bunch of stuff as I go through this, and then Amy is going to carry it on. We didn't know we were planning this, but she's talking about alignment, so realignment, which is what we're all experiencing right now. So the purpose of the today couldn't have been a more perfect time to do this. So I am so happy to be here, but let's let Amy speak as well.
Thank you, Roger. Appreciate you being here and appreciate all that you'll be bringing forth. Always a pleasure to have you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Cunningham, and I am a Soul Realignment Akashic Records practitioner. And what I do is I help people with manifesting their soul's desire, pretty much. And manifesting is so exciting. And there's a way to do it and a way not to do it, I guess. and Yumi, you talked about how it doesn't necessarily show up sometimes. So I want to talk a little bit about why that might be and how we can really work towards being in alignment with our soul's desire.
Beautiful.
And
beautiful.
And how we do that. So.
Great. Okay, so this again, the perfection of this will not be missed on any of you. So that's why I said you're going to come away with so much more. Okay, I guess I'm going first. I think that's the way it's supposed to work.
Go. Yes, go, Roger. Do it.
Amy's supposed to finish this. And let me tell you what's happening. We are all moving through a lot of stuff. And when we think about manifestation, mainly we think about money. It could be something else. You know, it could be something else that causes you to feel alive, and that would be your manifestation. It may not be money. You know, think of Mother Teresa, think of people like that who did other things because they were following what their soul's purpose was, that and all of that. And sometimes we don't completely understand it. Sometimes it's connected to stuff that we don't even know about, that we don't remember, which Amy is going to talk, she'll talk a little bit more about that later. But what I've done is I channel information, and you all have this intuitive gift. You listen to it sometimes you trust it, sometimes you don't. And that's okay, because that's called evolving. And every time you make a step, you come to know more of who you are. Now, what I've come to understand is that manifestation occurs when you decide to accept who you are, when you decide to accept what your particular path is. Sometimes we fight that. Sometimes you have fought that. I have done that forever. That's why I become the great example. I said, I guess my life was supposed to be just the example to have everyone else move through things and not hold yourself back and not waste so much time. So I'll just tell you this, I gotta show you this, and I can share the screen, correct? I'll be able to do that?
I can give you
permission. So, because I want you to see something. I've talked about this a lot of times. I write every morning. I've done this since 1988. I meditate, I channel, I receive information, I write, and I publish it. And then I choose not to listen to it. I choose not to believe it. And I'm saying that because you each have done that, and you've probably beating yourself up or you think something's going on, and that's okay, because it may not have been the time where you were meant to understand it or move through that or come to that place. There is what you hear about, this timing of our lives, it does exist. So I went in when we talked about manifestation, because I didn't know I was going to be here today. So that's why I'm going to tell you why this is so perfect. And I didn't know Amy was going to be here. And so they said manifestation. Oh, I guess maybe that means money. And so I go, yeah, I've written a lot about that, and a lot has come through. And so what I'm going to do is and then I go to my site. I have a website, Any Advice for Today, where I publish these every day. And I tell people to do this. I try not to do it because it's embarrassing. I say, just go and search for one thing and see the amount of how many times that has come up. And so I said, okay, let me go in and put in money. I just went to the site and put in money. I'm going to go through this, and then I'm going to get to the end, which only in this, I've been doing it for a while, but the only ones I have published go back to 2009. And so I'm just going to show you some of the subjects, because they will hit some of you in different ways. You will understand just the words and all of that. So let me go here. And okay. I have to move my screen a little bit there. Okay.
And as we do that, for any of you watching us on our Facebook page or in the Zoom call, please feel free to drop any questions that you may have, any comments, any shared experiences.
Okay, here we are. So you can see, okay, and I'll just do this very, very briefly. Okay, so this was the Latin, I guess, yeah, just 2007. A lot of you have gone through this one. You thought you had to choose between love and money. You couldn't do the thing that you really love to do, so you chose something else. I did that. You made it all about the money. You probably thought that maybe your worth was, about how much money you had. Nope, that wasn't it either. Your money will change. This was a time where I decided, oh, maybe I'll be myself. And then they're saying, if you do that, you'll have more money. Okay, great. I didn't remember that. Okay, you'll remember who you are, and money will help you. What that was saying is that when you feel you don't have enough, that's because you're not being who you are, basically, and that's how it's helping you. Then the money confused you because you thought you needed to do all of that. Please ask for the money. A lot of us in this space are afraid to do that because sometimes our self-worth hasn't allowed us to be able to ask for the money. I did that too. Then we have shame, and this is some of the ancestral stuff. This is the stuff we don't really know about or talk about a lot, because we're carrying energies with us that may be affecting the way we look at money and ourselves and all of that. It always is. Okay. Now you'll have all the money. You'll have all the money. They've just I was being encouraged again to be me. Okay. How to have all the money you want. All of these are the same thing. The energy of money. I was given that a long time ago. So we each use it differently. I just want to go to this very last one, because this will make sense for all of you today. Why we're here, because okay, you're not your money, because see, sometimes we have attached our worth and our value in the world to how much money we might have right now. Has nothing to do with it. Money, worth, and value, we've confused that in our society, and so that's something that we're all moving through right now in this world. Money and self-worth, we have connected all of those, and sometimes not. Oh, this is a good one. This has gone on for centuries. Our whole entire civilization has been built on understanding this. And we're moving through that right now in a really big way. The energy of money. And then we come to here. Let's go back to 2011, because we've all been the same. And I'll just stop on this last one, 2009. That's where I wanted to get to. Okay, so this one, if you guys can see this, let me just read a little bit of it. Money holds no intrinsic value except that which you give it. And we've all done that. We've given it some sort of a value. If we don't have enough, we're terrible people. Sometimes we look at other people and make them terrible if they have too much. We do all of that. Okay. Each and every soul will use it in their own individual way. You have decided on this life journey. I'm saying this because this was directed at me. We each will do this differently. And I had to see what I was doing. Okay, you have decided on this life journey that it could serve as a measure of sorts of your own connectedness to all that is, or source. You began learning this belief from a very young age and carried it forth on to a more mature stage of your life experience. You also possess the ability to change that value at any time you choose. That is for everyone, but they were speaking to me at this point. However, you may continue on your path and use it for your benefit. I never understood that until today. Okay, because I'm doing what I wanted to do, but it took me this long to understand and keep moving through this, uncovering the gunk that we carry around about ourselves. The greater the amount you acquire, you may decide it gives you guideposts, so to speak, of your own connectedness again to source or all that is. If you make it, this is the part I love. If you make it a game, as it were, that you play, you will enjoy the experience much more. Because we do carry a lot of weight about ourselves, about money and how we feel about that. So what I'm saying, what this was saying to me, and I've done it all these years. In this particular year, 2009, I was leaving one business, losing everything, because I knew I needed to go in another direction. So I didn't need to hold on to that, but it was still challenging to do it. That's where we are. But anyway, so I wanted to just show you guys that, because we all do this in a certain way. But what I was talking about now is that you can see what's happening in the world. We're all going through a lot of big changes. And I believe that that change that we're experiencing and this stress and all of that is to cause all of us to own more of who we are. And then when we do that, in my experience, that has happened, the money starts to show up. I had an experience that was almost shocking because I know a lot of people have not believed the idea of do what you love and the rest will follow, the money will follow, the bliss, all of that stuff. It does happen, but we might be resisting it for so many other reasons. One day I decided I'm going to do that. Let me see what happens. And I just created something that I knew was serving me and my clients. I said, I'm going to offer this. And then as I did that, because I knew it was coming from my heart space, the money showed up and I was like, oh, wow, that was fast. That was really fast. And that's typically what happens. So.
Indeed.
Right.
Thank you so much, Roger. Yes, such beautiful kind of like eye-opening information, and it truly, I agree with you, it is really all about truly feeling worthy of receiving, and whether it's money, whether it's a relationship, whether it's just a blissful life, that truly letting go of that perception that in order for something to be worthy, it has to be hard, and like we have to like earn it, and it's a very primitive kind of limiting belief that we all seem to be like stuck in, and that is also very much like inbred into us almost in society. So thank you so much for bringing that awareness. Amy, I would love to move to you, and we would love to hear your insights about what has been your experience with manifestation, and yes, just what would you like to share with us today from that perspective?
Manifesting is an interesting process for me, because I used to have like a vision board up on the wall, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to wish the money to come through the window. I'm going to envision that the money is just going to flow to me, and I'm going to meditate on it all day long. And there is a certain level of having to do that, because I think you are what you think, and you are what your thoughts are. So you have to really change your thoughts, but it's all about also changing your vibration. And when you change your thoughts, you also have to change the action, and you have to do something. You can't say, oh, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to win the lottery and never actually play the lottery. You know what I mean? You actually have to because we live in a third dimensional world, a 3D world on this earth plane, we actually have to take action. And that's how we raise our vibration. That's how we make changes, is by taking action and making choices. And I always tell my clients, it's really kind of interesting if you are looking in the mirror and you see the reflection looking back at you, what you see is an accumulation of all the thoughts, actions, and choices that you've made from past lifetimes and past decisions up until this very present moment. And every thought, choice, and action that you make in this present moment affects the future. So literally looking right back at you in the mirror is the past, present, and the future. So if you want to change the future, you have to change your actions. You have to change your thoughts. You have to make different choices. If you don't like what you see staring you in the mirror, you have to make different choices. You have to make different actions or take different actions. So how do you do that? Because a lot of times, you know, it's if you want to manifest $100,000 in 6 months, but you have no job, it's really hard to go from A to B, you know, from 0 to 1,000 with no job in 6 months. It takes time. We are in the third dimension. It's linear. It takes time. It's slow. It's molasses sometimes. So what can you do? You know, well, you start thinking about actually having that money. What does it feel like? What are you doing with it? What are you experiencing with it? How do you act? Where do you go? You know, who do you interact with? What type of people do you hang out with? Where you look at where you want to be in 6 months and you're living that life, what is the one word that energetically describes that vision? And if it's joy, if it's freedom, if it's whatever that one word is that describes, then every action, every choice that you make has to resonate to that particular energetic statement. And then all your choices and actions, and then you start making a plan and you start taking action. And you make one choice and you make another choice. And then you raise your vibration a little bit more. Then you take another action and you make another choice. You raise your vibration a little bit more. And eventually you get to that $100,000. If you don't have that $100,000 in your checking account right now, you're not manifesting it. You haven't. When you do, then you have. And you know you will because the proof is in the checking account. Or if you want to manifest your soulmate, your perfect soulmate, you'll know when you have that person. But how do you go about doing that? That's the
$1 million question.
And it's all about making choices. It's all about making changes. It's all about, you know, where are you at now? Where do you want to go? How do you get there? What's the feeling? What does it look like? You know, where do you want to be? And then you act that way.
Yes. And just to speak into that, the action as you were describing it, I've frequently heard it being described as like inspired aligned action. Like getting into that energetic state allows you to not just kind of take bumbling actions where they don't really take you anywhere, but it is action with purpose. It's inspired, it's aligned, and that is what gets you to where you want to be. So yeah, thank you.
You know,
exactly.
To piggyback off of what Amy was saying, the reason that I showed you all those different dates is to show that it's a process of us uncovering and being willing to move into that next place. And sometimes we resist for, again, reasons we may not know. And what was so funny, and I talk about this because I completely knew every time I wrote the message came through and I could look back later and interpret it, and I'm being guided and directed to do this next thing. I'm saying, oh, no. Maybe I can't do that. Maybe it's not me, which is what we do sometimes, but it's okay. That's what I'm saying. It's still okay. As long as we keep knowing that we're moving into a better part of ourselves, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. It's usually uncomfortable moving into that unknown because we'd like to stay safe, you know, but that's not what we're up to now. And we're gonna do something different. So
yes,
you know, you bring up a really great point, Roger, that I want to touch on. That level of that uncomfortableness. I love it because that is our ego saying, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't move to that next level. Our ego is so awesome because it wants to keep us safe. I mean, that's what it was created to do, is to keep us safe. So when it's screaming the loudest, you know you're on the verge of a breakthrough. And if you just keep pushing through it and moving that vibration up just one more notch, man, you're going to manifest. You're on the brink. Just push through it. Don't stop. Go for it. Because once you do, oh my God, everything's going to open up, and then you go to the next level, and then your ego is going to be like, okay, I kind of like it here. This is a cool place. I like this place. Let's stay here. And then you're going to go to the next level, and then you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God, I'm going to run for the hills. I want to run. And so I love it when I get
cool.
that to that point.
Yeah. Amy, I've never heard anybody else kind of explain the ego the way I've done. So that was so perfect.
Indeed.
I think I did it, I don't know, I think a couple of weeks ago when I was here. I don't know. But, this ego, this entity, this thing that we've created outside of ourselves that's kind of thinks it's going to keep us safe, like by causing us to be fearful and and to doubt and all of that. Say, oh, you're trying to move somewhere? No. Let's give you this.
Yes. And I love the way that you used the running analogy. Sorry, I was just, as you were talking about that, I was literally just feeling like that sense of accomplishment. It's almost like you need to push to get to that like runner's high, like when they like really push through, and then it's like, oh my God, this feels so good. But it needs to be like pushed through.
You got to move through it. And once you move through it, and you get to the other side, it's like, oh my God, the miracle's here.
Right.
And, I've always heard, don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle happens. And a lot of people, they give up because of that fear, that F everything and run. Because we give into the ego and give into the fear, and we back off because it's uncomfortable. And it's scary to move into a new level. But that's where, when that uncomfortableness is there, that's when we know that we are actually growing and we're moving into new vibration. That's the only way to manifest, is to move our vibration up and move into that next level.
And each of our paths are very different, and we've been given different things to I don't like calling it work through, but we've been given different things that once we understand them, they become gifts. And that's what happens. I know that I lived a life where I was always afraid. I just knew it. And so I wrote a book about fear, overcoming fear. Acknowledging and owning what's there, number one, starts to get over your own shame and embarrassment about it, and then you can start to move through it. As Amy was saying, taking those steps can be a little uncomfortable, but once you do it, I made a joke in the book when I wrote it in the foreword. I said it took me forever to write this book because I was afraid. That was what was going on. But once you do it,
and perhaps it is because you needed to be afraid in order to write a book about fear.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
And so whatever we have is something that we can use and for our own evolvement, because that's what we're doing. But once we do that, we're all connected. So we're giving it to others as well, once we are willing to move through that limitation.
Indeed. There's a phrase that I really always remind myself of, and it says like that your mess is your message.
Right. Yes.
Like there's a reason, like there's a method to this, what we seemingly feel is like chaos or madness. But there's a message in it, and we each kind of go through our own unique mess because we each have our own unique message.
Right.
Which brings me to Mary's question, which is really perhaps like a reflection on individual manifestation, but also understanding that as a collective, we have a collective manifestation as well on some level. So she asks, has COVID caused a delay in people's manifestation timeline? That is, in other words, has the pandemic delayed things for most people, or is that not a factor in manifestation?
It's okay. For some people, it did just the opposite.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Exactly.
It caused them to look inside. It caused them to own themselves. Sometimes when you get really afraid, that's what you do. You kind of, what can I pull up from that always been within me? So some people, and And other people decide this is a little crazy. Let me create something. Let me figure out what I can invent now. A lot of are doing that. You know, I created a couple of groups because I thought I got to do something to help to do, you know, so it's something. So I, not necessarily, some people, if again, it's their individual path, they could use it to stay into a victimization mode because that's been there. And so, but again, if they use this period to work through that, then it becomes a benefit for them, and then their money will probably be there or whatever they're trying to manifest. So it's different for everyone.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
completely different. It just depends on what you want to do with it, I guess, as well.
Yeah. Yes, and it reminds me of that, like, as resistance usually brings up like that self-sabotage that we create for ourselves, almost like pushing away what we want, which is a very kind of interesting dynamic that happens, but perhaps also related to just fear of being worthy. It's like our greatest fear that we actually deserve what we want and we can have it very easily, which is a very kind of like ironic kind of fear, but perhaps, you know, not receiving what we want allows us to kind of go deeper into, well, what is really going on, and have that be a process of going deeper inside. So thank you for speaking into that.
Yeah, and you know, I'm going to talk about this because Amy's done so much more of this. I wasn't a person who I didn't do the Akashic records. I just did it recently and just discovered, you know, and started looking at it and seeing what it was. And but before that, I was receiving information, you know, intuitively about what this ancestral stuff is that we're all moving through, and right now especially, it's kind of consolidated. And so when you understand that your particular thing that you might have with manifestation or money or whatever it is might be connected to something that you don't even remember. So the point of that is to take the judgment off of yourself, because then it becomes easier to ask the question, what am I supposed to understand? What am I moving through? How am I going to help? You know, it becomes different instead of something's wrong with me. That's the one that's not helpful.
That's a big point. Yes.
That's a really good point, because when looking at or working in the Akashic records and understanding the blocks and restrictions keeping me from moving into my intention, that has really helped me manifest and move through, because there's some things that have happened in past lives that I've carried into this life that has blocked my ability to manifest the things that I've wanted to. And being able to recognize that, acknowledge that, clear that, and then be able to move through and be able to make new decisions and take new actions has been very helpful.
Yes.
I wrote something just again to show the alignment of things, how things happen. Just before I came on, I was listening to a video that this guy who listened to, Victor Odo. I don't know if you know him, but I listen to a lot of Victor stuff, and he's great. And it's really weird because whenever he does something, we're on the same place, because you'll find people that you're in the same space, soul space, basically. We've been doing that. And he was talking about ancestral trauma, is what he called it, that we're moving through. He says that's a lot of things are going on right now. People are feeling that. And I started channeling that and talking about it. That's what's going on right now. And so when we connect to and understand that, so I did this in one of the channeling sessions I did, I started talking about DNA, because it gives people a little bit, maybe a little understanding. It's hard for us to think about past life sometimes, you know, we don't, because we can't really connect to that. But I had my DNA test done, and I thought this was so fascinating. I think everyone should do it. Our world will heal if everyone did it, because then you will see that you have these bloodlines that go to places that you don't even know about, and all. So that energy is in you. You may be experiencing something from some disaster that happened, that you weren't there, but your bloodline was there, was connected somehow, you know, just little things like that. It was really fascinating to see that. And if we think about that in a different way, we can give ourselves a break again and understand, okay, we're here doing a big job right now. We're moving through a bunch of stuff to help not only us, but everyone else, as Amy said earlier.
Indeed. Yes, beautiful. Thank you. And You know, it really ties into Colin's question, and just before speaking into his question, just really acknowledging what you just said about like how manifestation is something that is on such an energetic, deep level. You know, sometimes it is perceived as like, oh, I'm just going to sit and write this stuff, and then it's going to happen. But it is purely energetic, purely related to things that are like, they're still not in this realm. So it is all kind of multidimensional. And yes, past lives, ancestral stuff, all sorts of things are involved. Which brings me to Colin's question. He says, I'm curious, how does manifestation differ from planning or just setting intentions for a goal?
I don't think
Planning and just setting, well, planning and setting intentions is just planning and setting intentions.
Right.
The manifesting is you taking action on the intentions and the planning.
Right.
You can plan and set intentions all day long, but until you start taking action on those, I mean, and sometimes not taking action is taking action.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to think of that. You have to think of that as well. But literally, you start taking action, and things are going to open up. They have to, and it's just it's the law of attraction too. I mean, it just happens.
Okay,
but
that was good.
you have to have the intention. You have to have the intention.
Right.
You have to have the thought, and then you have to take the action. The vision board and sitting there wishing for it to come through the window is just.
So Colin, was it Colin? Is that who asked the question?
Yes.
Okay, so he's written some goals and all of that, but he hasn't moved on all of them yet, but that's okay. Because what's happening is you've taken the first step in the intention by writing the goals. Okay, and that's why I talked about all of this. Everything that I went through, I was like a goal. I was given that, but sometimes I didn't move. That's why I talk about it. Sometimes I didn't get there, but it's okay. Once you write it down, it's in your consciousness. That's an energetic implant as well. And so it starts to come about, even sometimes regardless of your resistance. If you implant it, if you put it in your, say, okay, this is it. I know it. I might take some time getting there, but this is where I'm going. So you're good.
Yes, beautiful. What I have experienced sometimes, and perhaps just really quickly speaking into that, is what I have witnessed is that setting intentions without having emotions involved in them is almost like empty, because it's the emotion that you want to have, and then almost putting it into words. And it's because emotions are energy in motion, and that is what basically puts the manifestation into motion. And from my experience in working with people, it's almost like it doesn't matter what you want, but it is, how do you want to feel, and bring that in, and then let that translate into something that is tangible, perhaps.
Okay, so
I think that's
that's
where I was going with when I was talking earlier about, in picturing and putting yourself in that that whatever it is you're wanting to manifest, imagining yourself in that particular moment of having it. What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What is it, the emotion that, what does it smell like? What are you doing? What are you wearing? What is the energetic statement that describes that particular moment for you? And then every choice and action that you take, make sure that it resonates to whatever that energetic statement is.
Yes.
And that will help drive the intention, because with that is, you're right. Without the emotion, with that intention, I mean, you don't go anywhere.
Yes.
Really,
Delia so beautifully describes it as you feel as if you have already received it.
Exactly. Acting as if it's already done. Because actually, it actually is. I mean, in some parallel universe, that it actually is.
Right. One of the messages was your money energy, and I've created programs around that because we all operate differently or motivated differently. And I didn't understand that. And that's why that one of those messages said the money confused you, because we're motivated to do things from our heart center. And sometimes it's different for all of us. And when we try to fit into something that's not us, then it doesn't work really well. I have never been a person who did anything for money. I tried to, because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. That's how you're supposed to be oriented. So I would go out and try to get a job where I could think, let me go and do this thing, even though I don't care about it, because I could earn a lot of money. And I kept doing that. And it always turned out to be a disaster. I hated it. I got sick. I mean, all kinds of things happened. And I kept doing it. And because I wasn't willing to step into it, I'm saying this for everyone, because this is the thing that we move through. I wasn't willing to fully step into me. Talk why I felt this is what I'm supposed to do, why I'm on the earth, basically. And so I had to go through that over and over again to finally say, okay, I'm going to give that up now and just be me. I'm just going to do what I feel is organic, authentic for me. And the authentic thing, as I talked about before, I had to get to that authenticity, because that's what we're all looking for, because that would, if we could be that, we would manifest a lot. And authenticity is a lack of self-judgment, because when we get rid of that, then we can allow that real self of us to come through. So, but it's a process.
Beautiful. And yes, so Carmen on our Facebook page, and Carmen is a newly joined practitioner to SoulConX, so giving her a big shout out. She says, to me, the soul or spirit gets involved with manifestation. I might have an intention, but if it's not for our highest good, it will turn out differently than what I want to manifest. So perhaps also trusting in that, like choosing it and also letting it go at the same time.
That will be true for some people. And this is the part I want to talk. I'm going to speak into this as well. Okay. Because the people here will understand this. You'll get this. Some of us are here in this time, in this lifetime, doing really heart-centered things. And we know that. And sometimes it's been challenging to do that, or to own that aspect of why we're here. But the more we can do that, and especially during this time, because it would be really helpful, we will start to move things in a different way in our own lives, and then also in the world, because that's the shift that we're all moving through right now. So that's why I was saying earlier, sometimes these things can be great for us in terms of becoming more accepting of who we are.
Yes. And not being attached to the outcome, like just trusting that, yes, this is what I want. Yes, this is what it's going to look like. And it was something that I really love to always add to like the end of my like rituals or manifestation, just kind of time is like, I choose this, and I'm also open to something that is even better. Because it's like, who are we to know? Who are we to know in this like 3D human consciousness? The universe is infinite. Perhaps what I want is something even more beautiful, and that is available. And why, like, restrict ourselves? So, yeah.
It's always perfect though. It's always good though, because even I spent a whole life denying what I wanted, but it's been perfect because now I get to help other people not do that. You see, so it's always perfect.
Yes. Sorry,
I always
Amy,
say it's perfectly perfect.
Right.
I always say it's perfectly perfect.
Beautiful. We're gonna go to Nicole's question, and then we're gonna go to what Megan has asked, because I feel that is like an overall question to the topic. But Nicole asks, I've heard manifestation described as alternating between different planes of reality and just deciding which plane one wants to operate on. And she asks, what are your opinions on that?
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, and again, I just heard something else that I've gotten this to. Okay. Yes, we've been here. We're eternal spiritual beings, and we come in different ways. Sometimes we can see divisions. We see differences in the world right now. We've been some of the other people that we don't like. We've been, that's just what happens. But when we come together, we share our differences. And once we look at the differences that we each exhibit, then we get to know who we are. We start to, oh, that's not me, this is me. Every lifetime we're doing that. And so what comes as a result of that is that we have all these different shared opinions and very different, but then the universe says, okay, we're going to take the ones that come together and make light. We're going to stay with that. And that's what we're doing right now.
Beautiful. Amy, did you want to speak into that?
Can you repeat that? Can you repeat what she said again? Because it was kind of deep and I'm not quite sure.
Pretty deep. It's very deep. So she says, I've heard manifestation described as alternating between different planes of reality and just deciding which plane one wants to operate on.
To me, that sounds like raising your vibrational levels, and going from one vibration to the next and deciding which vibrational levels you want to be on, which is manifestation in its own, because manifesting something means that you currently don't have it right now. You're not at that particular vibration, and if you were, then you would have it. So by changing your thoughts, changing your actions, and making new choices, you raise your vibration, which takes you to a different plane, different level.
Yes, and it's perhaps, I feel like it's a different way of saying the same thing, because all timelines exist, all realities exist, it's all happening, it's all available, but it is, like you said, aligning to that frequency that we most desire. And so it feels like the same thing, just said in different, perhaps a deeper way as well.
Well, sometimes I wonder, I look back on my life and I'm like, well, what would have happened if I made this particular choice instead of this choice? And then I think, well, what if, on a different plane, I actually made that choice and I'm living that particular consequence, and on that level, my brain goes there sometimes. And
there are various philosophies that do agree on that.
My brain around that.
Yes.
It's fun to kind of contemplate that sometimes.
Yes. Some things are very, and I'm sure you're all enjoying the extra entertainment that my daughter is providing.
She's so cute.
Thank you. I appreciate it. She's choosing attention. So sometimes I feel that, yes, like for example, we dream of things, it's almost like tapping into parallel existences of ourselves. Sometimes you dream of an experience and like it's you, and it's the same people, but different things are happening. And, sometimes I wake up from dreams like that and think like, am I doing that somewhere, somehow?
There was a movie with Dennis Quaid, I think it was, where he got on he was an astronaut and he went to another planet or whatever. I can't remember the name of it, but it always reminds me when we talk about different planes, where he was trying to send a message to his daughter.
Yes, I remember that. No, that's a beautiful one.
Through a book or through a bookshelf or something.
Yes.
It was I can't remember the name of it, but it was a really, really good movie, and that always reminds me of parallel universes. Interstellar, yes.
Yes, Interstellar, that's the one. Oh, that's fantastic. That was a really good one.
Back to the question about the different planes that let me talk about that again. Okay, because we're going to face it. We're facing it now, and we're going to see a lot more of it. And so we need to understand that. We came in this time to operate in a different way. We may have come in another time operating in a different way, and we may have come in operating as all those people we don't like, and all those people that we're looking at that we think are doing terrible things and destroying the world. We're going to see that. And so, but we know who we are now, why we're here. Now we can feel that. We've always felt that. We've known that we wanted to do something that was going to make a difference, help people, and all of that. And so now is the time where we're supposed to embody that, because it's going to help this movement in our world right now. That's
Beautiful.
that. And so, yes, we do operate. That's what the different planes. I think it is all at once, but right now we have a linear focus because we're physical humans right now. And so that's what we're doing. And this time we are here to make the difference for good.
Yes.
That's what you're doing.
Indeed. Beautiful. Thank you for that. So we're going to go to Megan's question, and it's a bit of an overarching kind of question of our topic. And she asks, can you explain the law of attraction a bit more? And I feel that phrase is like the buzzword in the spiritual community. So perhaps, what does it mean to you from your perspective, the law of attraction?
For me, what it means, you will attract into your life exactly what you need to help your evolutionary journey proceed. It's not going to look the same. Some people think, I know that whole thing, oh, I'm just going to sit and just want great stuff to happen. No, you may have had a lot of things that you've been holding on to that you've been resisting. And so you're going to get some things that are going to help you move through that. And that's your evolutionary journey, or another part of it. And then other people will have their, oh yeah, all I have to do is sit and think about this and it comes to me, because that was part of their evolutionary journey. It may not be yours. So they're all individual and correct.
Do you want to speak into that, Amy?
For me, the law of attraction is, you are what you think. You are, I think thoughts are and emotions are very important when it comes to manifesting, because that drives the intention, which drives your choices, which drives your actions, and drives the consequences. We are divine beings having a human experience. We get to choose the life that we want to live. I firmly believe that. And we can create whatever life it is we want to live. But what we put out there, we also get back. It is the law of polarity. It's the law of attraction, and so we have to be conscious of what we're thinking and what we're doing, because we can say one thing, but do something completely different unconsciously. And the universe is like, okay, well, we're going to give her this because this is what she's asked for, and, whammy, this is what you get. And so if we're constantly saying, oh, well, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, or, I don't have a green thumb, so I can't grow plants, or I can't do this, I can't do that, guess what? I'm not going to have a green thumb. I'm not going to be able to grow things, because that's what I'm telling myself is going to happen. And that's what I'm going to get. So I have to constantly watch what I tell myself. And I actually did a practice one time about writing down all day long. And it was very difficult to do, but writing down my thoughts all day long of the things I told myself. We have over 60,000 thoughts a day. And if you think about that, we can have an intention of creating or manifesting $100,000 in 6 months, but we're telling ourselves we're not worthy and we don't deserve that. We're not going to receive that intention if what we're telling ourselves is we're not worthy and we don't deserve to have that money because we're worthless. We are divine beings. We deserve to have abundance. We deserve to be free. We deserve to have, because we are divine. We are part of the universe. And I think we forget about that. So for me, that's the law of attraction. And that's what I have to remember when I am manifesting.
Yes.
Which hopefully every morning when I get up, I'm manifesting something because I'm living and experiencing. So.
Right. That's beautiful. Sometimes when I think about the law of attraction, to me, it feels like when you're tuning into like a radio station and you're like playing with the frequency until you get a channel. And a lot of the times we're tuning into a channel that we don't know we're tuning into. We're just kind of like, we wake up and we find ourselves listening to it because it's the same channel we've been listening to for like 40 years. And we don't realize that we can like change the knob and actually tune into something else. And perhaps that is when we really get to like work with the law of attraction and be a co-creator rather than just like an experiencer, but know that we can play a role too, and not just allow life to happen to us, but to be an active participant, so to speak.
I think another part of that, why this came up, because sometimes people have this idea about the law of attraction. All you have to do is sit and think, and all the great stuff is going to come to you. And so then when something happens that seems out of alignment, they think something's gone wrong. Maybe not, because maybe what you needed to move through was this experience so that you can attract that thing that you've put into your consciousness that you want to come to you. That this may be just part of it. You know, that's because I've seen that before, where people just get so thrown off because it didn't work like I thought it was going to. That's
Indeed.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point, Roger.
We have a really good question from Michelle. She asks, she says, my question is about grounding. I have felt more comes to me when I am really paying attention to grounding myself deeply. I struggle to ground myself deeply, but when I do, I have positive outcomes. Can you speak to the importance of grounding versus not grounding? Does that have an effect?
For me, it does.
Yeah.
Because when I ground, I'm grounding into the third dimension, and that is where we manifest. That we manifest in this 3D world. We manifest in the third dimension. And when we ground into this earth, into this present moment. And that's where the manifestations start. So yes, grounding is extremely important. I completely agree with that.
It would be interesting to hear what she did when she became grounded. There's something that she did during that time when she says, I feel grounded. Whatever that was, that's the thing that we need to go back to, because that will become a habit. When you keep going back there, it becomes a habit. You feel more grounded more consistently. My grounding is meditating every day, in the morning. I have a morning routine to do that. So whatever that she mentioned where she felt that would be the practice to use then to continue that, because it will grow.
Are you open to sharing with us? Would you like to speak?
So I do meditate. And I really have to get in the now moment. But sometimes
that's not it. I just love this so much. No, you're fine. You have this gift that you have been putting there. It's been sitting there and you see it and you kind of doubt it. You go back and sometimes you believe it and sometimes you don't. But it's okay. You're moving in that direction. You're moving in that direction more recently than you ever have. Correct?
True.
Yeah. So it's okay. You're doing it. The ground, it's moving. You're building, just what I was talking about. You've built it now and it's going to continue to grow. That's where you are. And you're just supposed to trust yourself a lot more, because that's what's coming up.
Thank you, Roger.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for asking. Yeah, that's beautiful. So perhaps the last thing that we can speak into before wrapping up our circle is from each of your perspectives, what has been what would be the number one thing you would recommend to our listeners today for them to really move closer towards the things that they desire? What is the one thing that they need to focus on after leaving this circle that they should hop on and do?
I would say to look at the things they put away a long time ago. A long time ago, your childhood, the things, those dreams, those ideas, those that you wanted to do, that you weren't willing to do, look at those, because something's going to start coming up from that's going to inform your life right now.
Beautiful. Thank you. Did you want to speak into that, Amy?
The one thing that helps me when I really want to manifest something is, as I've mentioned before, is really setting that intention, envisioning where I want to be, and knowing what that energetic statement is, and then setting the plan, setting the action, and every action that I take, allow it to resonate to that energetic statement. And as long as it does, and I will know if I'm not headed in the right direction, because things will start to feel wonky. And I use that word loosely. And I'll know when I'm headed in the right direction, because things will start coming to me that, one, I may not expect. It will feel right. It'll happen, and it'll just happen easily most of the time. So, but it's resonating to that energetic statement, whatever that is,
Yes.
for what it is I'm manifesting. So once I understand that and know that, and then also the fear thing, when that happens, celebrate it. Get so excited about it, celebrate it, relish it, and just move through it, because once you do, oh my God, it's going to be right there.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Celebrate it as if it has already happened, as Delia mentioned earlier. Beautiful. Well, I would like to thank each of you so much, and thank each of our viewers who have joined on Zoom, and our beautiful Facebook community as well. And for everyone who has chosen to share their time, share their space, share their questions, share their energies, and be with us today. It's always such a joy to be with you and to learn so much, and to just be in this beautiful energy together. So I thank each of you, and please check out Roger's microsite on our platform, SoulConX, as well as Amy's. They are both offering just absolutely magnificent offerings, and have so much to offer to the world. So check them out. And next week's Thriving Circle is going to be all about psychic gifts and the different clairs, and how we can perceive information in different ways, and how we essentially are all psychic. We just don't know it yet.
Cool.
So tune in
Thank
next
you.
week.
I'll see you guys. Thank you. You guys are
Thank
rock
you.
stars.